when the butler's daughter came to the company to deliver documents to me. A cold mechanical voice suddenly rang out in my mind. Warning, the destined female lead has entered the plot range. Your fiancé will kill her out of jealousy. Your brothers will turn against each other for her sake. And the 30 billion in assets under your name will vanish within 6 months. This is the countdown to your downfall. Gu Yin. I set down my coffee, a slow smile spreading across my lips. 6 months? Enough. Let me see who drops out first. At 3 o'clock that afternoon, sunlight crashed through the floor-to-ceiling windows onto the conference table. I had just wrapped up a merger negotiation and loosened my tie when my secretary pushed the door open. Mr. Gu, Uncle Chin's daughter has come to deliver the documents. Uncle Chin has been our family's driver for 20 years, working for my father. His daughter, Chen Su, just graduated from university and is interning in the group's administrative department. Let her in. The moment the door opened, my mind went blank. Ding, the destined female lead Shin Siyu has officially entered the main storyline. Plot preview. In 3 days, your fiancé Su Wanqing will publicly humiliate her at the charity gala. In 7 days, your childhood friend Lin Hao will develop feelings for her and begin to distance himself from you. In 1 month, your business partner Zhou Su will leak the core project data of the Gu Corporation as a token of his approach to her. Final outcome. The Gu Group goes bankrupt and is liquidated. You are abandoned by all your allies and left alone. As the mechanical voice fades, I look at the girl in front of me, ponytail tied up, holding a folder. Her eyes sparkling. She gives me a smile. Mr. Gu, this is the contract Uncle Chen asked me to deliver. The finance department is pressing for it. I take the document and flip through it with my fingers. Yeah, just put it here. She nodded and turned to leave. I called out to her. Chen Su. Huh? Mr. Gu, do you have any other instructions? I studied her for 2 seconds. Round face. Plain. With an indescribable warmth between her brows and eyes. But could someone like this really turn everyone around me against me? Interesting. It's fine. You can go now. After she left, I leaned back in my chair, tapping my fingers lightly on the armrest. The system. I had bound this thing 2 days ago, and its official name is the Plot Warning System. No fancy tasks or rewards. Just one feature, tell me in advance what's going to happen next in the plot. At first, I thought it was an auditory hallucination. Until yesterday, the system said, at 2 p.m. today, your competitor will raise the bid by 10 million in advance. The result was spot on. At that moment, I knew it was real. Now it's telling me I'm doomed. Gu Yin, the sole heir of the Sure Group. With 30 billion in assets, I'm about to collapse entirely because of a butler's daughter. To be honest, my first reaction wasn't fear. It was curiosity. How incompetent must these people be to be led around by the nose by a fresh graduate? I took a notebook out of the drawer, flipped to a blank page, and wrote down 3 names. Su Wanqing, Lin Hao, Zhou Su, then drew a question mark after each name. The charity gala is in 3 days. I want to see what my noble fiancé is truly capable of. The charity gala. Half of the city's elite were in attendance. The crystal chandeliers dazzlingly bright, and the champagne tower stacked 3 tiers high. I wore a dark gray suit and stood in the corner. Su Wanqing held my arm, her smile flawless, greeting every person who walked by. Darling, would you mind giving the speech on my behalf later? My throat feels a bit uncomfortable. She tilted her head to look at me, her voice soft enough to drip with honey. I looked down at her. Su Wanqing, the eldest daughter of the Su Group, is top-notch in both appearance and skill. Our engagement was arranged by the 2 families, patriarchs. To be honest, after 3 years together, I have only one assessment of her. She is so perfect that she doesn't seem real. Okay? I responded. She smiled with satisfaction. At that moment, there was a commotion at the entrance of the hall. Shen Siyu walked in wearing a light blue dress, her hair let down, with very light makeup. She wasn't stunning, but amidst all the glitz and glamour, She stood out conspicuously, refreshing, clean, like a glass of plain cool water dropped into a pile of wine glasses. I felt Su Wanqing's fingers tighten slightly around my arm. Here it comes. Who is that girl? Her voice was calm, but her gaze was glued to Chen Xiu. Uncle's daughter, a group administrative intern. Oh, she twitched the corner of her mouth. Dressed like this for a charity gala? Who sent her the invitation? The HR department sent them out uniformly. All group employees are eligible to attend. Su Wanqing said nothing more, but I could feel her entire demeanor drop 3 degrees in temperature. 20 minutes later, while I was in the restroom, the system chimed. Plot update. Su Wanqing is approaching Chen Xiu at the bar. Upcoming event. Wine splash humiliation. I paused for a moment, then turned and walked back to the hall. From a distance, I saw Su Wanqing holding a glass of red wine, talking to Chen Xiu. Chen Xiu wore a flustered smile on her face, continuously waving her hands. I moved a little closer, just in time to hear, "So you're Master Chen's daughter?" Su Wanqing's tone was condescending. I've always wanted to thank Master Chen for his hard work over the years. Another day, I'll have Yin arrange a better position for you. No need, Miss Su. My current job is just fine. The admin department is so boring. Su Wanqing smiled, raising her glass closer. You deserve better. She tilted her wrist. The glass tipped forward. I strode over in 2 or 3 steps, catching the glass steadily in my hand. The red wine swirled around the rim of the glass without a single drop spilling. For a moment, the scene fell silent. Su Wanqing looked up at me, a flicker of surprise in her eyes. Darling, I placed my wine glass on the side table, looked down at her, and spoke in a low voice, but every word was crystal clear. Wanqing, you should get that slippery hand of yours fixed. Her face paled for a moment, but she quickly put on a smile again. Oh dear, I was so careless. I almost got your dress dirty. Chen Xiu stood nearby, twisting her fingers, and said softly, It's fine. It didn't spill on me. I glanced at her, then turned to Su Wanqing. There are a lot of people today, so drink less. After saying that, I took Su Wanqing and left. On the way back, Su Wanqing remained silent, walking into the empty corridor. She shook off my hand. Gu Yin, what do you mean by that? What do I mean by what? In front of so many people, blocking you and throwing a drink at an intern in front of so many people. I leaned against the wall, watching her. Su Wanqing, you are the eldest daughter of the Su group, not a fishwife at a market. You want to save face, but the Gu family also has its dignity. Her chest heaved twice. She bit her lip, shot me a glare, then turned and walked away. High heels struck the marble floor, urgent and fierce. I watched her leave, a faint smile curling at the corner of my mouth. The first event, verified. Su Wanqing's hostility towards Chen Xiu was real. No reason needed. No need for Chen Xiu to do anything. Just the mere fact of her existence was enough for Su Wanqing to make a move. The system chimed again. Plot correction. Due to the host's intervention, the wine-splashing humiliation event was not triggered. Su Wanqing's favorability -5, hostility +10. Unknown. In the original plot, this event would have caused Chen Xiu to leave in tears, with Lin Hao stepping in to comfort her, marking the starting point of their relationship. The current timeline of this event has been severed. I lowered my head and let out a laugh. It's not that I want to protect Chen Xiu. I'm just cutting the fuse. These so-called plot lines are, in essence, a chain of cause and effect. If one link breaks, everything that follows is invalidated. You want to make me an outcast, abandoned by everyone. I'll make sure every chain shatters into pieces right from the start. 3 days after the banquet, in the afternoon, I made plans to have dinner with Lin Hao. Lin Hao, my brother who I grew up with. When we were kids, he took the punches for me in fights. In high school, I forged parent signatures for him when we skipped class. A bond like that It's no exaggeration to say we were devoted to each other. The system told me that he would betray me because of Chen Xiu. To be honest, there's a part of me that doesn't want to believe it, but I trust the data more. In the private room of the hot pot restaurant, the beef tallow pot bubbled away. Lin Hao sat across the table, picking up a piece of tripe with his chopsticks, dipping it in the hot pot for 3 seconds before tossing it into his mouth, blowing out puffs of air with a hiss. Master Gu, did you have another fight with Miss Su? What? The other night at the banquet. Word got around that you stopped her from drinking. Lin Hao chuckled. Everyone says Miss Su's face turned green with anger on the spot. Small matter. Not to be rude. Lin Hao put down his chopsticks and looked at me seriously. Su Wanqing has a heart smaller than a needle's tip. If you contradict her in front of others, she'll remember it for a lifetime. I didn't respond and poured him a glass of beer. By the way, I pretended to be casual. Have you seen Chen Xiu? Uncle Chen's daughter. Interning in the administrative department. Lin Hao's hand, reaching for the tripe, paused for a moment. Just a moment. But I saw it. Chen Xiu? Oh, I've met her once. He said casually. Ran into her when I was delivering documents. A very well-behaved girl. Yeah, she really is. What? You're interested in her? Lin Hao raised an eyebrow. No, I was just asking casually. That's good then. Lin Hao took a gulp of beer. Don't go fooling around. You know, if you tip over Miss Su's vinegar jar once, that's enough trouble for you. His words were perfectly watertight, but I noticed one detail he said meant once. According to the company's attendance records, Chen Xiu ran into Lin Hao at the entrance of the administrative department 4 times last week. 4 times. I didn't say anything, just smiled and clinked glasses with him. After returning home, I turned on my computer. I pulled up Lin Hao's social media activity logs from the past week. As his designated emergency contact, I have access to all this back-end data. Online from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. He used to go to bed at 11 p.m. sharp. I checked Chen Xiu's moments again. The latest post. A photo of a desk late at night. A warm yellow desk lamp. And a cup of coffee. Caption. Night Owl Diary. Timestamp 1:15 a.m. I shut down the computer, leaned back in my chair, and stared at the ceiling for a long time. Lin Hao, 20 years of brotherhood. I'm giving you a chance. If the next step you take is the same as what the system says, then don't blame me. A week later, the company had a minor incident. I was discussing the financing plan for the new project with Zhou Su when the phone on the table lit up, and the system's voice rang in my mind. Spoiler alert. Zhou Su will send the core technical parameters of the Gu family's new energy project to the rival Xiao group via encrypted email at 5 p.m. today. Motivation. Xiao promised the position of vice president plus an annual salary of 10 million plus Chen Xiu's contact information. I put down my pen and looked up at the opposite side. Zhou Su was still analyzing the data endlessly, flipping to the 13th slide of the PPT, speaking with great eloquence. So I suggest starting the second round of financing 3 months earlier, so we can seize the market before Shaw does. Zhou Su. Compile a copy of the technical documents for the new energy project and give it to me before 5 p.m. I want to review it personally. His finger paused on the laser pointer for a moment. No problem. The smile remains, but he unconsciously rubbed his thumb with his left index finger, a habitual gesture he made when lying. I have known him for 6 years. I know it all too well. At 4:30 p.m., I asked the head of the technical department to set up a monitoring script on the server side. 4:58. Zhou Su's computer port initiated an encrypted external connection. After tracing the target IP, Xiao Group server. At 4:59, the transmission was intercepted by the firewall I had preset. Halfway through the file transfer, it was automatically fragmented. So what Xiao received was a bunch of garbled code. On Zhou Su's end, it showed sent successfully. 5 o'clock sharp. I stood up and picked up my coat. Meeting adjourned. Walking to the door, I turned back and glanced at him. Zhou Su was packing up his laptop, looking as calm as ever, even humming a tune. Just wait. Good drama takes time. The next day, at 10 a.m., I convened an emergency meeting of the core management team. Zhou Su, Lin Hao, Technical Director Zhao, Legal Director Qian, and myself, 5 people in total. The moment the conference room door closed, I pressed the projector button. A log entry pops up on the screen. Timestamp, IP address, transmitted content, all clear. The meeting room was silent for 3 seconds. Zhou Su's face changed faster than anyone I've ever seen in my life. White to gray to blue-green. His Adam's apple moved. What is this? You don't recognize what you uploaded yourself? I placed the laser pointer on the table. The sound wasn't loud, but no one in the room dared to breathe. Gu's new energy core technical parameters have been encrypted and transmitted to Zhao's group server. Zhou Su, do you have anything to say? His lips parted, then closed again, open again. President Gu, this is a misunderstanding. I was just doing a data backup to a competitor's server. Qian Jie turned her head sharply to look at him, her glasses nearly flying off. Old Zhao slammed the pen directly onto the table. The calm on Zhou Su's face finally cracked. He stood up, and the chair bumped against the wall behind him. Gu Yin, are you monitoring me? Company servers, company assets, all operational behavior within a company's scope is subject to supervision. I leaned back in my chair, crossing my hands on my lap. This isn't called surveillance. It's called security auditing. He pointed at me, his hand trembling. You've suspected me all along. No. I stood up and walked over to him. I just didn't trust you. Zhou Su, I gave you a chance. You've been with Gu Corporation since its founding day. Have you ever been shortchanged on options or dividends? He fell silent. The expression on his face shifted from anger to something far more complex, like being stripped naked and thrown into a crowd. I continued. What did Shao Corporation offer you? Vice President, a multi-million salary? His pupils contracted. And what else? He clenched his molars tightly, refusing to speak. I let out a laugh. Fine. Don't say anything then. The legal team will speak for you. I turned to look at Sister Qian. Follow the proper procedure. Commercial espionage. Crime of infringing trade secrets, once we've gathered all the evidence. Submit it directly. Understood. Sister Qian was already taking notes. Zhou Su seemed to have all the strength drained from him, collapsing back into his chair. Gu Yin, our 6 years of friendship. Friendship? I looked down at him. The moment you sold me out, that friendship was already dead. I picked up my coat and pushed open the door to the meeting room. Security. 2 security guards immediately walked in. Escort director, Zhou out of the company. His access card, system permissions, and company email are to be frozen immediately. I walked away without looking back. Behind me came the sound of Zhou Su's chair toppling over. Then Sister Qian's cold voice. Mr. Zhou Su, please cooperate. As I walked out of the meeting room, I heard the system's notification sound. Plotline business betrayal has concluded. Gu Corporation's core data is secure. In the original plotline, this data leak would have caused Gu Corporation to lose its first-mover advantage in the new energy sector, resulting in a direct loss of 8 billion. Current loss? 0. 8 billion. Just because of a contact information for a Chen Siu. I really overestimated these people before. After Zhou Su was removed, the company was in turmoil for 2 days. The news spread quickly. Everyone knows Mr. Gu has taken down his old partner. The reason? Selling the company. No one dares to say a word. People in the hallway avoid me when they see me. I don't care. But someone couldn't sit still. Lin Hao. That night at 10 o'clock, he called, Gu Yin, come out for a drink. His voice was tighter than usual. I agreed. The usual place. Quiet bar. Corner booth. Warm yellow light falling on his face. He had already drunk 2 glasses of whiskey. His eyes slightly red. Guyen. Yeah. About Josu. What's wrong? He was silent for a few seconds, turning the cup around. Did you look me up? I looked at him. He lifted his eyes to meet mine, and in his pupils there was something I rarely saw: fear. Why do you think I checked on you? He licked his lips. I was just asking. Lin, how? If there's something you want to tell me, say it now. What will you do to me now that I've said it? I picked up my glass and swirled it. Depends on what you say. He stared at me for a long time. Then he picked up his phone and pulled up a chat interface. He handed it over. On the screen was his conversation history with Chinsiu, starting from a week ago. It started with polite small talk, later turned into late-night confessions. He told her about work stress, the messy family issues, and those broken memories of being beaten by his dad as a kid. Chinsiu replied gently. Every sentence hits just right, without overstepping, yet making you want to keep talking. I handed the phone back to him. And then nothing. Lin Hao gripped the cup, his knuckles turning white. It was just chatting. I didn't do anything inappropriate. But you wanted to. He didn't deny it. Silence was more honest than any answer. I leaned back, watching the swaying chandelier on the ceiling. Lin Hao, let me ask you a question. Go ahead. If one day someone uses her to make a deal with me, asking you to take the other side, would you? He suddenly looked up. Guyen, what do you take me for? I take you as a brother. I looked down into his eyes. So I'm telling you this now. It's not settling old scores, but giving you a heads up in advance. His Adam's apple bobbed. You saw how Josu was forced out. 6 years of friendship couldn't outweigh a single offer from the Shao Corporation. I set down my cup and leaned forward. 20 years between you and me. Is that enough to wake you up a little? Lin Hao's hands were trembling. Not the kind of trembling from fear. It was the kind that comes from being slapped awake, both shameful and painful. He opened his mouth, and his eyes suddenly reddened. Damn it, Guyen, I just feel comfortable talking to her. I didn't think that much. I know. I never thought about betraying you. I know. I patted him on the shoulder. That's why I'm drinking with you now. Not having the security guards escort you out. He lowered his head and rubbed his face vigorously. After a long moment, when he looked up, his expression had darkened. I deleted it. Let's not contact each other from now on. Your own matters. I won't interfere. I picked up my glass again. But remember one thing, Chen Xiu is not as simple as she seems. What do you mean? It means there's something about her that makes men who get close to her lose their reason without even realizing it. She doesn't do it on purpose. But the result is the same. Lin Hao was silent for a long time. How do you know? Because I'm an outsider. He looked at me as if seeing me for the first time. That night we drank until midnight. As we walked out of the bar, the night wind crept into our collars, chilling us sober. Lin Hao stood under the streetlight and patted my back. Guyen, thank you for not killing me outright. I chuckled. If I got rid of you, who would I drink with? He laughed too. But after the laughter, his expression grew serious again. That girl, what do you plan to do with her? Not dealing with it. Huh? She didn't do anything wrong. Lin Hao looked utterly confused. I didn't explain, because I was telling the truth. Chen Xiu really didn't do anything wrong. The system labeled her as the destined heroine, but from beginning to end, she never actively approached anyone, never deliberately seduced anyone, and never engaged in any inappropriate behavior. She simply existed, and the others came to her on their own. The problem was not with her. The problem lies with those who cannot control themselves. Zhou Su was dealt with, and Lin Hao was stabilized. The two fuses were cut off. According to the system's logic, the plotline of Gu's collapse should have been largely paralyzed. But I didn't let my guard down, because there was still one person. Su Wanqing. Ever since I stopped her at the banquet that day, she didn't say anything on the surface. As usual, she asked me out for dinner. And as usual, she sent me a message asking what time I'd be home. Gentle and considerate, with no flaws whatsoever. But 3 days ago, the system pushed a new alert to me. Su Wanqing has secretly contacted the media, preparing to anonymously expose the story under the headline Young Master Gu keeps a female subordinate as a mistress. Estimated exposure time. This Friday. Consequences. Gu's stock price fell 12% in a single day. 3 brand partners withdrew their investments, and the board of directors initiated a vote of confidence. Well, that's ruthless. She doesn't confront directly. She wages a war of public opinion, killing with a borrowed knife. And she chose her angle with precision. Once the word kept is thrown out, even if it's false, the cost of clearing it up is 100 times higher than spreading the rumor. I closed my laptop and made a phone call. Sister Qian, President Gu, what's the matter? Help me arrange a meeting with Su Wanqing's father, Su Guoming, the day after tomorrow at noon. Hooting Club. There was a pause on the other end of the line. Okay. Sister Qian is a smart person and doesn't ask too many questions. The day after tomorrow at noon. The top floor private room of Hooting Club. I arrived 10 minutes early. Su Guoming came in 5 minutes later than me. Around 50 years old, with his hair meticulously combed, wearing a sharp suit, and an imposing presence. Gu Yin, he said as he sat down, taking the tea handed by the waiter. What's the urgent matter for seeing me? I slid a file folder across. Uncle Su, take a look at this first. He opened it suspiciously. Inside was a public opinion monitoring report, anonymous tip-off media channels, contact middlemen, payment accounts, a clear and complete chain. Payment account holder. Su Wanqing. When Su Guoming turned to the last page, his hand visibly stiffened. He looked up, and the expression in his eyes changed as he gazed at me. This is Uncle Su, I said, my hands crossed on the table. The engagement between Wanqing and me was arranged by the 2 grandfathers, and I have always respected it. But as you can see, she is preparing to use a baseless scandal to bring down my company. Su Guoming closed the file, his face ashen. This matter, I had no idea. I believe you don't know. That's why I came to you, not to her. What do you want? 2 options. I held up 2 fingers. First, you keep her in check. From today onward, this matter will not happen again, and I will act as if I never saw this document. The engagement remains as is. Second, if she cannot control herself, the engagement is void. I will handle this process with dignity, without affecting the Su family's reputation. But from then on, we will go our separate ways. A vein pulsed on Su Guoming's temple. He remained silent for a full minute. Then he closed the file folder and stood up. I'll go handle it. Okay. He walked to the door and paused for a moment. He didn't look back. Gu Yin. Yeah, you're tougher than your father was at your age. The door closed. I picked up my tea and took a sip. Longjing, Preaching Ming Harvest. Incredibly fresh. Su Guoming was very efficient. The next evening, Su Wanqing called. Yin, are you free tomorrow? How about having a meal together? Her voice was gentle, no different from usual, but I could tell that it was a calmness deliberately controlled, like the surface of the sea before a storm. All right, you pick the place. Let's go to the usual spot, that Japanese restaurant. The next day, at the Japanese restaurant, Su Wanqing sat across from him, her makeup flawless, not a single strand of hair out of place. She picked up a slice of salmon with her chopsticks and slowly brought it to her mouth. After finishing, she set down the chopsticks and dabbed the corners of her mouth. Yin, my dad talked to me. What did he talk about? She looked at me, a complex surge of emotion swirling in her eyes. It wasn't fear. It was a sense of nakedness. After being seen through. That document, when did you find it? 3 days ago. You investigated me for 3 days and didn't say a single word to me? I gave you 3 days to back off. She let out a laugh. Not a happy laugh. It's the kind of laugh that gets stuck in the throat, forced out as if something is blocking it. Gu Yin, when did you start? Becoming like this? Like what? It's so cold. I didn't answer that question. Wanching, I want to ask you something. Tell me the truth. Go ahead. Chen Su, do you have a grudge against her? Her pupils slightly contracted. No. Then why did you touch her? I'm not going to touch her. Spilling wine doesn't count. Dragging her into the public opinion storm doesn't count. She bit her lower lip, her nails digging into her palms. A few seconds later, she said one sentence. The voice was very soft, so soft that I almost didn't hear it. Because the way you look at her is different. I was stunned for a moment. What? From the day she walked into your office. The look in your eyes changed. Su Wanqing lifted her head, her eyes glistening with tears. Gu Yin, I've been with you for 3 years. You've never looked at me like that. I opened my mouth, wanting to say something. But honestly, at that moment, I didn't know what to say. Because what she said, it seems not entirely wrong. I do pay special attention to Chen Xiu. It's not affection. It's because the system told me she would destroy everything I have. All my gazes at her were, in essence, vigilance. But Su Wanqing didn't know about the system's existence. In her eyes, I had simply cast an unwarranted glance at another woman. Wanqing, yeah, you misunderstood. I don't have that kind of feelings for her. She looked at me, tears not falling but all welling up in her eyes. Then why did you stop me? Why did you protect her? Because she didn't do anything wrong. She doesn't need to do anything wrong. Su Wanqing suddenly raised her voice, then quickly lowered it again. She just needs to stand there. And that's enough. These words were exactly the same as what I had said to Lin Hao earlier. Shen Xiu did nothing at all. But everyone lost control because of her. Including Su Wanqing. Including myself. I stared at the sashimi in front of me and fell silent for 10 seconds. Then look up. Wanqing, I'll give you 2 choices, just like what I said to your father before. If you're willing to stop, we'll keep moving forward, and this matter will be put behind us. If you're not, let's part ways amicably. She looked at me. The tears finally slid down. 1 drop. Wiped away. Take a deep breath. When she looked up again, she was once again the perfect Su Wanqing. I choose the first option. All right, but I have one condition. Go ahead. Transfer Chen Xiu out of headquarters. I don't want to see her again. I thought for 2 seconds. Fine. Have HR arrange her transfer to a branch office. Her compensation stays the same. It won't be considered a disciplinary action. Su Wanqing nodded, picked up her bag, and stood up. As she walked past me, she leaned down and whispered softly in my ear, Gu Yin, you owe me. Then she walked away without looking back. A lingering cold fragrance slowly dissipates in the air. The day after Chen Xiu was transferred for headquarters, the system pushed an ultimate warning to me. Unknown. The core plotline Gu's collapse has been 87% dismantled by the host, but the underlying threat has not yet been eliminated. The core variable has been refreshed. New source of threat, Xiao Yuanzhou, chairman of the Xiao Group. Xiao Yuanzhou has obtained the fragmented data transmitted by Zhou Su and is organizing a technical team to reverse engineer it. Estimated restoration success rate, 34%. If successful, it can still deliver a fatal blow to the Gu family. Estimated time, 2 weeks. I closed the notebook and rubbed my temples. Xiao Yuanzhou. I know that name all too well. He was my father's generation's rival. The 2 families have been competing in the new energy sector for over a decade, outwardly showing mutual respect. But behind the scenes, each eager to swallow the other whole. This time, he got his hands on Zhou Su's fragmented data, like finding half a puzzle piece, although incomplete. Given enough time, he could guess the full picture. 2 weeks. I only have 2 weeks. That afternoon, I gathered the core members of the technical and legal departments for a closed-door meeting. Old Zhao. Here. The technical roadmap for the new energy project will start iteration from today. Huh? Mr. Gu. Iterate now. We're about to enter trial production. Let me finish. I walked to the whiteboard and picked up a marker. The core catalyst formula stays the same, but the packaging process switches to the third-generation plan. All disclosed technical parameters are to be updated. Let the fragments the Xiao family obtained become obsolete waste paper from the previous generation. Old Zhao was stunned for 3 seconds. Then his eyes lit up. You mean turn their own game against them? Let them spend 2 weeks reverse engineering a discarded plan we've already phased out? Exactly. Once they follow it and produce a prototype to test. Old Zhao slapped his thigh. It'll all be junk. Not just that. I turned to Sister Qian. Sister Qian, I need you to prepare a complete chain of evidence for intellectual property infringement. From the moment the Xiao family started reverse engineering, every step they took is evidence of infringement. Sister Qian adjusted her glasses, a faint smile curling at the corner of her mouth. Mr. Gu, you've been playing a long game here. It's not a long game. I tossed the marker back onto the table. It's just basic operations. If someone wants to steal from me, I'll let them steal a bomb instead. 2 weeks. The tech department worked around the clock, upgrading the packaging process by 1.5 generations. All external technical white papers have been fully updated. Meanwhile, from the Xiao family, the planted informant sent back word their technical team is working overtime, reverse engineering the Gu family's core technology. Progress is encouraging. Confidence is soaring. Xiao Yuanzhou even pre-ordered new production line equipment. Every day, I read these reports like watching someone cheerfully running toward a cliff. 2 weeks later, Monday morning, I was sitting in the office when a news notification popped up on my phone. Xiao Group's new energy project. Major quality incident in first batch of products. Core components completely scrapped. Losses exceed 2 billion. I clicked and took a quick look. Keywords: 0 yield rate, catalyst parameter deviation, mismatch between packaging process and design. The comments section exploded. Things like Zhao's bet on the wrong horse, technical route collapse, investors fleeing overnight. I put down my phone and took a sip of coffee. Then the system chimed. The fact that the Xiao Group used the Gu Group's leaked data for reverse engineering has been exposed, and the media is investigating the source of the data. Sister Qian has submitted the complete chain of evidence to the court. A joint lawsuit for infringement and corporate espionage has been filed, with a claimed compensation amount of 5 billion. Xiao Yuanzhou will urgently meet with Gu Yin this afternoon, attempting a private settlement. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Hooting Club. Here again. This private room has been doing great business lately. Xiao Yuanzhou sat across from him. Unlike Su Guoming 2 weeks ago, this man in his 50s had a sallow complexion, with dark circles under his eyes dark enough to pass as smoky eye makeup. Gu Yin, Uncle Xiao, is there any room for negotiation in this matter? His voice was hoarse, as if his mouth were full of sand. I leaned back in my chair, watching him. This face, just a few months ago at an industry summit, was brimming with confidence, saying, "The Gu family is old. It's time to step aside." No, sitting before me like a sun-dried fish. "Uncle Xiao," I said slowly, "do you think it's appropriate after stealing someone else's things and getting caught to ask? Is there any room for negotiation?" A muscle twitched on his face. "Gu Yin, you bribed my people, stole my core technology, and tried to overtake me on my own track." I counted them off one by one for him. With each word he spoke, his back slumped a little more. "If you had succeeded, you wouldn't be sitting here today, giving me any room to maneuver, right?" His mouth opened, but no sound came out. I stood up and buttoned my suit jacket. "See you in court." As he reached the door, he finally called out, "Gu Yin." His voice was hoarse, carrying a kind of panic that a person of high status would never have. "I can transfer all the equity of Zhao's new energy division to you. If you drop the lawsuit." I paused for a step. Turned my head back. "Uncle Xiao, what is your new energy division worth now?" He was stunned. "Yeah, products scrapped, equipment written off, investors gone, reputation 0. That department is now a liability." He brought a pile of junk to trade for $4. 5 billion lawsuit. Do you think I'm stupid? The lawsuit will proceed as planned, I said, but if you are willing to voluntarily admit the infringement and cooperate with investigation, I might consider preserving some dignity for the older generation in terms of compensation. He slumped in the chair, unable to utter a single word. I pushed the door open and stepped out. Sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows into the hallway, warm and cozy. My phone buzzed once. System. Congratulations. Host. The main storyline Goo Corporation's collapse has been completely concluded. All threat sources have been eliminated or neutralized. The Goo Corporation's assets are secure, and its network of relationships is stable. Evaluation. Fate cannot be defied. You trampled it underfoot instead. I looked at the line of text and let out a laugh. I slipped the phone back into my pocket. Destined heroine. Betrayal of all. Family ruined and lost. My fate. Gu Yin is mine to write. Walking out of the main entrance of Hooting Club. The car was parked by the roadside, and the driver, Uncle Chen, was wiping it down. Seeing me come out, he quickly opened the rear door. Mr. Gu, back to the company? Got it. I got into the car and sank into the seat. Outside the window, the city's traffic crawled slowly. My phone screen lit up a WeChat message. Chen Su. Mr. Gu, everything is going well at the branch office. Thank you for your arrangements. I'd love to treat you to a meal when you're free. Followed by a smiley emoji. I stared at that smiley, my thumb hovering above the screen. Thought for 3 seconds. Typed 2 words. No need. Sent. Then placed the phone screen down on your lap. The car drove onto the main road. Sunlight filtered through the trees, casting patches of light and shadow across my face. That was enough. Everyone returns to their places. No one is hurt. No one goes bankrupt. No one betrays. This plot has been rewritten by me into the most boring ending. And boredom is the best.